everyone. So today I'm going to be doing two videos back to back, so if you see this one, please check out the other one. Before we get into it, I have started doing a disclaimer. I want to say I do cuss on this channel, trying to keep it to a minimum, but I do cuss, so if you have children around, maybe wait, this is not a kid-friendly channel at all. I'm not kid-friendly. I love kids, just my mouth gets me in trouble. With that said, this is going to be about Katie's ex-moderator. We're going to talk about it, and then I have some thoughts on BX Beast Boy and his coverage of the situation, and that'll be my second video. Again, check it out if you want to. I never say this, but it'd be awesome if you like the video, commented, subscribed. That was weird. What was that face? I don't know. I'm in a weird mood. But yeah, if you want to do those things, always awesome. Love having you here. To everybody who's been here, dude, I love y'all. Thank you so much. Like, I'm still going through some of the comments from my previous video, and I love that you guys actually talk. And, you know, it's not always those short little comments. Like, y'all get into the conversation, and I appreciate the hell out of that. I really do. Because sometimes, like, it can be months later. I'm going on a thing, but it can be months later and somebody will comment on an old video and it's like really eye-opening stuff, and I like that. I like seeing things from a different perspective. I really do. And I think that's what's so cool about YouTube is that, yeah, you're putting your opinion out there, but you really get a lot of feedback and a lot of different opinions, and you can, you know, sometimes it changes your mind, sometimes it changes your outlook, sometimes it doesn't, but it's cool that we have a real community here. I love that, and I love you guys, so thank you so much, for real. Alright, let's do this. I will try to make this a little bit quick, because I know how I am. I can get a little sidetracked. So first of all, I just want to say, this woman, her YouTube channel is Chapter Epilogue, and she goes by Alicia. Oh, I hope I'm getting that right. I'm always scared that I'm going to get somebody's name wrong. Ever since that video I made about Caroline and I forgot her name, I'm always like, am I doing it right? I don't know. Of course, I'll have her channel linked in the description box and her video, which I encourage everyone to go watch videos that I put in my description box. See it for yourself. She shared her story about some of the things Katie had done to her, and just kind of the way she had treated her. So, right now she's currently living in a hotel, and I know that there are people out there who disagree with me, but I would like to encourage anyone, if I believe she has a PayPal, if you could donate and help this woman. You know, I can imagine look, I've had family that lived in hotels. I've had friends that lived in hotels. I was fortunate enough, I always had a house, but not everybody has that. So if you got it like that and you can afford to help just a little bit, every little bit counts. This woman seems very genuine and sweet. I really think she is. So I just wanted to put that out there. If you can go to her channel, find the link. If I can find the link myself, I'll put it in my description box as well. But, you know, I'm not very good at all these things, so if you can find it, if you have just a little extra, every bit helps, and I think she could use it. She's been through a lot. And just a real quick thing about that, she had been in a car wreck. She lost her cousin. She lost another family member and almost lost her mom. I think it was her grandma. I don't want to speak wrong, but you can watch. I'll also link T-Spiracy did an interview, which I thought was really good. I love T-Spiracy. First of all, she's like hella funny in her videos, but when she gets into like doing something like this where she's interviewing, she can be like really genuinely serious and caring, and she's very good about interviewing, and I enjoy it a lot. So I'll link that too. But all this gets talked about. Ooh, I just moved the table. Sorry if that was loud. All of this gets talked about in that interview, and she goes a little bit more into the things that she was going through and dealing with, and they were all recent. So, you know, if you can just help out, I encourage it and appreciate it. All right. So the other night, it's been a couple days ago, I'm not sure, she made a video, or she did a live stream, talking about her experience with Katie. She said it had been kind of asked for, so that's why she did it. And she gets emotional in it, and that broke my heart. It really, really did. So I don't think this was for any nefarious reasons, which that'll be for my next video. But I just want to put that out there. I feel like, you can see her get emotional. So if you watch it for yourself, it gives you a chance to see it, obviously. But I think that makes a difference on how you take in information versus me just telling you about it. So the first thing she says, this is the 3 reasons that she's, things that have happened with Katie that were shitty or whatever, things that kind of led her down the path of not wanting to support Katie. And so to understand, she actually knew Katie. Now, she's never met her in person, but had a internet friendship with Katie since before Katie had a channel, back when she was writing for Pathos. So this woman has known and spoken to Katie for quite a long time. And she mentions in the interview with Teaspiracy that Katie had her phone number. Every time her phone number changed, Katie had it. So there was communication, there was talking, and she began moderating in the beginning, at the start of the channel. So she's been modding for Katie forever, for as long as Katie's needed moderators. So for her to leave the channel, and she did announce when she was leaving, there were people that were curious. So I felt like it made sense for her to share her side and why what would lead her to leaving. And just for the record, some people have been commenting on her stuff saying like, well, why would you leave now? Don't do that. Don't do that. We all have a right to our opinion. We all have the right to change our mind. And it's such a weird thing to me. Why would you do it now? Because you wanted to. Anyway, so the first thing she talks about is how Katie had got on Twitter and tweeted something out and basically outed her for being an ex-drug addict or a drug addict in recovery. Basically, what had happened is she goes more in depth on Teaspiracy's interview. Katie was talking about one of the celebrity people and was like, I think they were high, and then tags her and is like, you're an addict, you would know. Like, who does that? Like, personally, that really gets to me. If you've been on my channel for any amount of time, you would know my husband was a drug addict who overdosed and passed away, and I have my own issues with substance abuse. So to out someone as an addict, and even if they are open about it, you don't blast it on Twitter to your hundreds of thousands of people. And even if it was like back in the day before she had that many people, you don't do that. Like, you don't share someone else's shit without talking to them. And then the way she did it was so wrong. Like, you're speculating on if someone else is high, so you hit up and tag the only drug addict person you know. Like, that pissed me off. But we're gonna move on. So I explained before, she'd been in a car wreck. I'm sorry, I'm reading notes. You know how it is. If I'm serious about it, I got notes. She had been in a car wreck, and when she came back to a live stream after her car wreck, after she had been out of, I guess, in the hospital, got home. First of all, no one realized, Katie herself hadn't really realized that she had been gone, which is like, how? When you've had this friendship since even before they were mod, but even if it started as a mod, like, how does no one realize you're gone? And to me, that's some shady, like, shit. But eventually she does ask, on this live stream, Katie does ask this mod, how are you doing? And she answers, and she's like, well, I'm good, but I'm, kind of battling depression. And Katie basically jumps her shit and is like, don't be saying that shit in here. Go somewhere else. Take that to Discord. And so, she leaves and is feeling some type of way. Like, she kind of felt because other people had left, and she kind of felt like abandoned in the moment. Like, how is that your response? You know, when somebody opens up to you and says, like, I'm okay, but, you know, depression, and their response is, don't say that shit here. And I don't think she reached out after that. Yeah, it doesn't say in my notes that she had reached out after that. So that to me would have been enough for me. Well, actually, the first thing, the sharing my story without my permission, probably would have been enough for me. But this woman hangs in there. She really cares for Katie and has a friendship. And I think some people are like, well, you're never friends with a YouTuber. But you should try to understand she wasn't a YouTuber when this friendship began. And yes, it was an internet friendship, but that's still a friendship. And maybe I'm naive in the way that I think, but I care about people. You know, I might not know you in person, but if I talk to you like that, I care about you. And I do care about people fairly easily, but the point is, it wasn't like Katie was this famous YouTuber and, you know, she had this false sense of friendship. Like, they were actually talking before Katie got big, and it was a friendship. So, yeah, I would expect more from her than that. But this is Katie. So, her cousin had passed away, and this is up right before Christmas. Yeah, that's right. Okay, because I was talking about the fact she had messaged back. So she actually messages Katie, and because she had been so ride or die for Katie, she had always taken up for her. Every time Katie got criticism and hate, as she calls it, this woman was like, oh no, not Katie. Y'all don't know her. Y'all don't know how she is. And so when she was dealing with the death of her cousin, she reaches out to Katie as a friend for support, and Katie doesn't message her back. Which I can't imagine, because I understand if you get bigger on YouTube, having hundreds of thousands of people DM you, I can imagine that's overwhelming. However, someone who is personal with you, you've had one-on-one conversations with, when you see them pop up in your DMs, I would take the time to see what they're saying, especially if they're a active moderator on your channel. You would think there was some point where she would have been like, oh, I need to see what she's saying. But no, she didn't do that. So, I'm sorry, I was reading my notes. So we talked about the fact Katie never acknowledged that she had been gone. Alright, so Christmas 2020, KJ did a live stream about filling people's Amazon wish list. The ex-mod felt, Alicia, I hope I'm saying that right, she felt as though KJ had gotten the idea from her, because at the end of November, she had reached out to Katie and said, look, you know, it's been a rough year. I can't afford to get my daughter anything, but I've made her this Amazon wish list. Will you share it? Now, she's said multiple times, you know, there was nothing on the list for me. It was all like kids' dolls and Frozen stuff and, you know, things that obviously were for a kid. And she didn't ask her like, hey, will you buy everything or will you buy something? She just said, will you share this? Katie tells her that she doesn't do fundraisers. And then comes out with her live stream where she's like, let's fill Amazon wish list. And doesn't even put this woman's daughter's wish list up there. Like, to me, if Katie would have came on and said, hey, I don't usually do this, but I had a sub reach out to me and I want to share her Amazon wish list and we're going to do this. That's where this idea came from. It wouldn't have been a problem. But to be like, no, I can't do that, and then go on your channel and then do that, I'm just saying, what the fuck? So, also, this ex-mod said that this is something that she has done in the past. So, you know, it seems a little suspicious that Katie would just come up with it out of nowhere. So the final straw for this ex-mod which was the final straw for a lot of people. And I think people have excused Katie's behavior for long enough. But when she went off in that live stream, excuse me, I got hiccups. She went off because people were in her chat talking about losing children, losing a child. I've talked about it. I broke down about it. And I didn't take that video down because, you know what, that's how I felt. And it bothered me. It bothered me a lot. And that was a point where she was like, you know, Katie's just not the person that I knew, that I thought she was. And that was it for her. Like, she had put up with everything Katie did to her. And then finally, it was Katie's actions towards someone else that was like, okay, I can't support this. This is enough. Enough is enough. And trying to see if there was anything else. She did mention at one point that the entire time she kind of felt as though she was like the token black girl. I know in the interview that T-Spiracy did with her, T-Spiracy does ask her, like, okay, well, what do you think of Todd? And she says that Todd was always very nice to her. So she had a very different experience from what most people see, him calling women the C word. And I don't know. I still don't know how I feel about Todd myself, but she did say she had a different experience. Now, one thing I want to mention before I wrap this video up, because it was not mentioned in her live stream, but it was mentioned in the interview T-Spiracy did with her. She does give credit to Katie because Katie had given her, and this is going to come up in my second video, and that's why we're talking about it now. Katie had given her $150 for Thanksgiving. And when it gets brought up on the live stream, she says when she asked KJ to share her daughter's Amazon wish list, Katie goes in on her like, well, where did the $150 go that I gave you for Thanksgiving? Now, in the next video, we'll be getting into the point that was made about how she didn't put that in her original live stream and all of that shit. Because it's being said that it came off as ungrateful, like, oh, she only did it once. Well, here's the thing. In her live stream, she was nervous as hell because she was coming to speak about Katie. And let's face it, people that speak about Katie do get hate. And, you know, she had that personal friendship with Katie, so I'm sure it was difficult. And she was there to share these negative experiences, to say, like, this is what led to me not supporting her. So was it really relevant to say, you know, I know people will argue the fact that, well, if you're going to talk about the bad things, you should talk about the good. But the literal point of that live stream was to say this is what led to me not supporting her. I don't personally see a problem with it. We'll get into that more in my next video. But I did want to mention, yes, Katie did give her $150 for Thanksgiving. And she does openly talk about that in T-Spiracy's interview with her. So it's not something she was trying to hide. And I wanted to put that in here. But overall, you know, T-Spiracy asked her in the interview, she's like, do you feel like this has always been who Katie is, or if she, like, changed with the YouTube fame? And she said, nah, I think this is pretty much who she's always been, and it just came out. And I kind of feel that way, too. Like, I think Katie just is this person. I think this is the way she views the world, and the way she thinks, and the way she feels is okay to treat people. And I'm not saying that Katie's never done anything good, but this is just kind of like a, don't get me wrong, it's not like this mod came out and like one big gotcha moment, like, we got you, Katie, now you've messed up. She's been doing shitty things to fans and subscribers and members for a long time. So to see her do stuff like this to a moderator is no different. It's become what I've expected of her. But I do think it's only right that we do make videos about this and talk about this, because I personally don't feel that this mod deserved that. I don't feel that anyone deserves to be treated like shit by a friend on the internet, or B, someone you look up to online. It's not okay. These things weren't necessary of Katie. She didn't have to be shitty. She didn't have to out her for being an addict. I think that was just disgusting. You know, she didn't have to jump on her for saying that she was depressed instead of being concerned and reaching out to her or talking to her. You know, she could have said, like, well, we're not going to talk about it up here, but I'll message you later. She could have actually responded to her messages. I mean, it's just, overall, it really is just shitty behavior. No, it's not groundbreaking news. We all knew she did things like this. But it just further shows that even up until the beginning of the end of last year, beginning of this year, she was still being shitty. Nothing's changed. So I felt like it was important to show support for this woman, and the things that she's been through are really difficult, and maybe by sharing her story, she can get some of the help she needs, and it can turn something negative into something positive. She did not deserve to be treated like shit, so maybe this will be something to get that out, and to have support will be positive. And it just further shows that Katie is genuinely a shit person, and that's just how I feel about it. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Please check out the next video. It's going to be a little difficult to make, but I'm going to make it. I wouldn't say difficult. It's probably going to get me a little bit of backlash. Do I care? Nah, not really. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.